Coming up, a Sad Styles production.
Get into it.
And welcome to the Retrograde, the video game podcast where this week we talk about one of the most wonderful games of the year.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes. Wait. Wait. I just said it again. My name's Andrew Bassman. With me, as always, is the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself.
Mikey-O, Aaron Worth.
Mikey-O, classic.
It's great. If you had an alter ego, not an alter ego because it's a different person. If you had an antagonist.
Yeah. Oh, an antagonist.
Yeah. What would like Wario is to Mario?
Is it Wandrew?
Is it Wandrew?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I call you every time you complain.
Yes. It sounds like when I'm a big baby, I am Wandrew.
When you're a little dinky Andy hanging out. I am very excited, Andrew.
Why is that?
Today? Well, listen, for two reasons. One, it's no longer October. It's no longer Retrograde.
Yeah.
We no longer have to subject ourselves. I'll go so far as to say debase ourselves by playing these scary games, whoring ourselves out, yelling in front of a camera, screaming at the top of our lungs. You more than me, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Now we actually get to talk about some decent games that came out in October, wrap up some of our thoughts. We mentioned this on the last week when we did our Five Nights at Freddy's movie review, that we were going to be saving some of our conversations about two of the more notable releases of late, which is Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Spider-Man 2. We're going to be doing two dedicated episodes to those. So this week, it's Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder. We got a new Mario game in our Lord's year 2023.
Do you know how long it's been since the last mainstream or mainline 2D Mario game?
Oh, no. Okay, good. Because I was going to say, since we visited New Donk City.
No, that's not 2D.
That's not 2D. That's not 2D. Yeah. No, I'm going to say 10 years.
Just a little bit more, but close. It was 2012. So we're 12 years, just about 11, 12 years. I heard this thing. I heard this thing.
You hear about this?
Did you hear about this thing that I'm about to say? When the Nintendo Switch came out, it started out with Breath of the Wild as a launch title.
Amazing.
I'm pretty sure it came out in March or so.
Okay.
And by the end of the year, around October, a new Mario game came out. And that's kind of how they started the Nintendo Switch's year.
Oh,
and
wow.
This, potentially in the final year, actually realistically in the final full year at least, of the Nintendo Switch being the most premier current Nintendo console, it's likely that's how they're ending it off as well.
Wow. Isn't that something?
I think it is something.
Smokes. Yeah,
I think it's something interesting.
Yeah, no, hey, no doubt. But we got to play.
I think that's something interesting as well.
What's that? By the way, your evil character would be Wikey? That sounds like a slur.
Yeah, Wikey, and that's something. And slurs are things that Wikey is very comfortable saying.
He loves them.
In fact, he's waiting for you to tell him what he's not allowed to say, so he can say what I'm not allowed to say, and then he actually says the word. So if you're in conversation with him and you're like, we can't say the N-word, he says, "Oh, I can't say," and he actually drops it,
and then he says it,
and he stares you in the eyes when he does it. And that's kind of his thing.
Yeah, it's a Wikey.
It's a Wikey.
That's his catchphrase.
It is his catchphrase, and honestly, I think it's a good one. If it weren't for all the slurs,
spits at you. It's a Wikey. And you're
he
like,
spits on you,
man.
and then he says, "Wipe that shit up." That's his catchphrase. That'd be really good. What would your Wandrew do?
He would cry, and then he would try and kiss you.
Have you ever been kissed by someone who is crying?
Yes.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
It's not good
because it makes your whole face wet.
Not good, Mikey. No, I do care about the physical. I think it's the emotional side of it. Like, I don't know how to feel about this.
Also, I like that I had to say, have you ever been kissed by someone crying? Because if you've kissed someone who's crying, that opens up a whole slew of potential questions.
Yeah, including a couple of maybe court cases.
Yes, did they want it?
Yeah. All of a sudden, just a folder opens itself. You're like, whoa, like a Harry Potter character starts writing. Oh my God.
Now that we're out of the Halloween theme, do you have any closing thoughts on either scary games, scary movies, any of that shit?
Well, okay, so
we to rest.
We talked about Five Nights at Freddy's last week.
Yes,
rest in peace.
Yes,
very scary. So two things. One, we didn't bring up that it was day and date also released on Peacock.
Yes,
on the thing, which is really impressive when you look at the sales now in the theater, and you're like, holy smokes! And people could have watched it at home, and they're like, no, thank you.
My question about that was the weekend. What we're bringing up, if you didn't listen to last week's episode, is that Five Nights at Freddy's the movie is the second highest grossing video game movie opening weekend of all time.
Yes.
Second only to another movie which came out this year, which is Super Mario Bros. Which, hey, look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us tightening the circle, closing the loop.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's just the cleanest segue we can ever bring up.
Cleanest segue
But
we could ever.
We're not going to take it. We're going to keep talking about Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. Were those figures of $78 million the highest grossing Blumhouse opening weekend of all time as well? Were those including the digital rights to Peacock? Is that something you?
No,
that's
it's
just
just box office numbers, which is so impressive. So
That's
I
very
just wanted to
impressive.
make sure we brought that up.
But also, who has Peacock?
So it is a lower rung of
Yeah,
streaming services for sure. It's like Paramount Plus and Peacock.
Sure.
And, whatever. But that being said, it's very, very impressive. I also wanted to bring up, I did a little bit more research after the episode. It was originally a Universal Studios production, and then they tried to dump it off, and Blumhouse picked it up, and it cost them about $30 million. But man, do they seem smart.
Do you know who was originally signed on to not to go back and relitigate all the Five Nights at Freddy's and stuff?
Yeah.
But do you know who was originally signed on as the director for Five Nights at Freddy's prior to us getting it in its current form?
No.
It was Chris Columbus.
Oh, God.
I don't know.
That would have sucked.
I don't know. It'd have been like a little Home Alone element there.
Sure. Here's my only thing about Chris Columbus. Should have stayed in Portugal. Should have stayed the fuck away. No. What's the last good Christopher Columbus movie? And I'm not doing that to put anyone on the spot, but whenever we mention Christopher Columbus, we're like,
Sure.
well, he brought us Harry Potter, and you're like, great.
Did he?
Yeah, the first movie.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but
Is he a turf?
Well, I don't know. We should ask him. A notorious turf, nonetheless. But like Home Alone, Goonies, and stuff like that. And you're like, you're talking about movies that are 40 years old. Like, you know what I mean? And it's always like, well, he would be good.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know.
I don't know.
You know more about recent movie. I mean, I didn't even know that he did.
You've been in a slumber for a couple of years. Yeah.
I love my slumbers, Andrew. I basically turned my conscious thought off for the last month, and then was able to sail through to this month. The one thing I want to say, spooky wise, before we move on to Super
I got
Mario
one more
Bros.
thing
Wonder.
too.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then you go first because I want to close it off.
Oh, very selfish of you. When we had our dearly departed, rest in peace, Mushroom Club, we talked about the things that we were most anticipating for the fall. And Mikey just starts, and we said, let's talk about some movies we're really excited about. First thing out of Mikey's mouth was A Haunting in Venice. And I said, the Hercule Poirot movie, the Agatha Christie. Goes, I guess.
It has great posters, Andrew.
That was it. His reasoning was, I saw a bunch of posters on bus stops.
It looks great.
I just finished it as I walked over here.
And
you dodged a bullet, my man.
Is that true?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
not great. The fact that
not even Timothy Oliphant could save us.
No, he wasn't in it.
He wasn't.
No,
in it?
no.
So who's the guy with the mustache on the poster?
Well, there's so many mustaches in this movie. It's really hard. I would say originally Kenneth Branagh because he's got two mustaches.
Yes, yeah.
Very famous. Well, you've never seen any of these movies. This blows my mind. That you're like, first movie I'm really excited for is something I know nothing about, and I'm going to keep it that way. I'm not going to do any research.
No.
So Kenneth Branagh kind of as Perot has like kind of two mustaches, like they're like winged.
Oh, weird.
Jamie Dornan also has a mustache.
Wait, doesn't the another two mustached person? Am I imagining that Egghead himself from Sonic, doesn't he have a two mustache thing going on at some point?
Maybe. Yeah, that would make sense because it's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I like that.
But it wasn't a good movie?
No.
That's really disappointing. That's very frustrating.
I could have just kept you in your like, happiness of just naivete and just not knowing.
It's funny because I literally drove by a poster today for The Haunting in Venice, and I was like, I think I should start giving it a shot. A, B, how is that still up there?
I don't know, but it is in theaters. It just hit streaming today while we're recording. So I just had to bring that up as our spooking, haunting follow-up.
Thank you for updating me, Andrew. What I wanted to bring up, and there's no reason why I wanted to close it, apart from just feeling powerful and like I've got big balls, is that I started watching a show, which is it's made by someone, you'll know the name of him, I don't, who has done other series.
It's going to be Mike Flanagan.
It's Mike Flanagan, and it's Paul. How the fuck did you know?
I don't know. I just know you. I know you after all this time.
Yeah, it's Mike Flanagan. I couldn't watch Haunting on Hill House, and I couldn't watch The Devil Made Me Do It.
Pourquoi?
Because in every episode, there's at least one jump scare out of absolute nowhere.
Yeah.
And I can't relax when I know that that's a possibility. And it turns out Fall of the House of Usher is the same premise.
Well, yeah.
Out of nowhere, there's just 1 or 2 jump scares that are they're annoying. It makes me want to punch my fucking television, but the story's good.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
I like Mike Flanagan a lot. I think, Dr. Sleep's a weird movie that he made.
I am kind of a Dr. Sleep apologist.
I am too.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
The hat thing is hilarious, but like on top of it, it's just a good story and has no reason to be okay.
Yeah.
It should be objectively bad. And it's not.
I think a lot of arguments might say correctly so that the last 30 minutes of the movie where you set up this mysticism and magic and then you just shoot all the people in the head with guns, that's really funny to me, but also terrible storytelling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was okay.
It's good to know if I ever ran into a witch, I could just blow her brains out.
Shoot her in the fucking head.
Throw her into the cauldron, blow her brains out. Say some quippy line about like one witch and then just pour her in 2 eyes of newt.
Wait, one witch? Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
That's
It's
good.
like a recipe.
That would have to follow the 2 eyes of newt.
No, I'd be like 2 eyes of newt, 1 badass attitude, and 1 dead witch, and I would just toss her in and then
that's good.
then stir it with a dick or something.
And then and then once you're done stirring with your dick.
Yeah, I'll get arrested for a sex crime. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Whoa, I killed the witch.
One of my biggest fears in life is like, I got to pee a lot. I drink a lot of water. And if I like stop my car at the side of a highway or something like that, and I'm there, I'm usually good about like facing away from oncoming traffic and like opening both doors of the car
to give yourself
standing
privacy.
there to give myself privacy for molesting children. And no one's seeing it happening, but like I'm scared of someone seeing it.
Okay. Sorry, there was a skip, there was a leap there and I missed it. How are you?
I was leading you to think that I was going to say peeing on the side of the road.
Oh, okay.
But then I just slipped in.
I thought you said you were afraid people were thinking you're molesting children.
No.
Or you're exposing yourself to children driving on the highway.
No. But accidentally, if I'm just peeing, like, because I've heard of people, or maybe this is just what they're telling me. I'm just realizing this. Hey, I'm your neighbor. I have to introduce myself to you.
Yeah.
I was peeing on the side of a road one day and I had to introduce this. On a related note, weirdly.
This is the best Super Mario episode we've ever done. Yeah. Yes. Unrelated.
On a related note, weirdly. Has it ever been floated out there into the ether that maybe Subway sandwiches weren't the reason Jared lost all that weight?
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Like,
is there another, it's like pre-Ozempic is...
Oh, I see. Yeah, maybe he was on like, maybe he had a surgery that we didn't know about. Maybe.
No.
Do I miss what you're going at here?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you trying to lead us back?
No, you get it.
Yeah. So, okay, maybe it was Ozempic. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
No. We don't need to pull on that thread. I just thought you'd get it right off the bat, just like my other joke.
I know.
Andrew, you're leaving me in so many ditches right now. Usually we're like there to like pull each other out.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what you're going at.
Speaking of children, they love Super Mario Bros. Wonder, the game of the week. And I wonder how we found ourselves here talking about this. I have a funny story about Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Okay. The game that came out on October 20th.
Yes.
Right. By this little company you may not know of called Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
It came out the day. What's that?
I would just get shoddy upstarts. Just hopefully they get.
Shot at this. I hope they go back to trading cards. Really.
Yeah. Back to hotels and trading cards or whatever they were doing.
I think little wooden toys.
Yeah.
The day that the game came out, I was traveling. I was in Ireland, and I was traveling from Dublin to Galway via train.
Okay,
and that's like a almost 3 hour trip.
Wow!
And I was like, God damn, what timing. What delicious timing.
Yeah.
But the day it comes out, I get to play Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And I did. I had it pre-downloaded so that as soon as the clock hit whatever time it was playable at, I switched it over. I was playing it. There was a young couple sitting across from myself and my player one, and we were and they saw me with my Switch, and the husband or partner, the guy said something like, oh, we should have brought our blah blah blah. And I was like, Super Mario Bros. Wonder came out today. And he's like, I know. That's what I was saying. He was like, not that interested. But it was cool that he recognized that I had a Switch and that I was playing Super
Mario
Mario
Bros. Sounds like a dick, to be honest.
No, he was okay.
Okay.
There was actually an interest.
You were wearing pants.
I was peeing at the side of the road.
Exactly.
Eating a Subway sandwich. No, but it was fun. It was
Can't
like
wait for you to explain that.
A great excuse.
Can't wait.
It's that pedophilia is a weight loss solution.
Oh, that's okay. So the theory here is that it's not, in fact, the Subway sandwiches that make them lose weight. It's the act of pedophilia will help somebody lose weight.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, well, I can't rule it out. I'm not a doctor. Or I don't know who the hell you go to on that one.
Andrew, we got to run some experiments.
I'm good. I think I'm going to sit this one out, guys. This is the new Try Guys experiment. Like, I don't know. You guys figure this one out. I don't know.
Like, I'll stick to the Ozempic.
Yeah.
I love the callback because now I can't even edit it out if I wanted to. Great. Fuck it. Whatever. We're stuck. It doesn't matter. Life's meaningless. So let's talk a little bit about Super Mario Bros. Wonder. We've had a lot of time to play it and experience it, and I'm excited to get into our thoughts, opinions, and dreams. You play as one of 8 playable characters, which I actually didn't know going into it that you could do. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Toad, Toadette, Nabbit, or Yoshi. Who did you play as?
I stuck with so the important part about this character thing, though, is if you play with one of the Yoshis or the Nabbits, you do not experience, you got to help me here, you do not experience upgrades like mushrooms or anything like that, but you also can't die. You're invincible?
You can't die, but you can't get upgrades. You're essentially there as, and at first I was like, I don't understand why you'd want to play like that. However, it kind of like child mode or it's almost like partner mode. So if you no Andrew.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that was one of the experiments again.
Do not give me that look. So if you are Yoshi or Nabbit, the other player who you're playing with in co-op can actually jump on your back and ride you around the level.
What?
Which is really cool. And you can't die. So what I've thought is, instead of making it so that there's an invulnerable character that you can play as if you're not good at the game, I almost envision it being more along the lines of, like, you know how you're way worse at games than me?
Sure.
So if I would play as Yoshi or Nabbit, and you would jump on my back and I would kind of protect you and like run you around and let you have the fun in the game.
Yes.
Because you wouldn't be able to experience these parts of the levels without me because you wouldn't be able to get there on your own.
Right. It's kind of an example of the podcast in general, to be honest.
You wouldn't be able to get there on your own.
You just let me have fun. You hold everything down and it's great.
That's great.
It's just wind me up and I just go.
Andrew, I don't like it as much when you play along. It's fun when you're sad for me.
You just like to be combative when you're like, I'm better at video games. Like, sure. And you're like,
I'm like, well, this isn't fun for anyone. Yeah. First time
listeners.
listeners are like, well, that Mikey guy sure is a dick. And I think he's problematic. I'm not sure.
Also, he's telling on himself way too much.
So I think that's kind of the premise.
So who did I play as?
Yes.
I really stuck to I stuck to Peach, Mario, and Luigi.
Oh, really?
You know what's funny? I haven't played a Mario game in a very long time. I did not play what was the last Mario game with New Donk City? I just made a joke about it.
Odyssey.
I did not play that game because I didn't have a Switch at the time. I should go back and play it now. And so I hadn't played a Mario as a while. So I was like, well, I'm kind of nostalgic. I'm kind of romantic about it.
I understand. I thought about going as Mario, but
you're a Luigi guy through and through.
I went for the ultimate cuck. How could I not? I had to be Luigi.
Anyone watching on YouTube right now, look at this motherfucker.
I'm Luigi.
He's Luigi.
I've got the most punchable face. I'm super scared of ghosts.
Yep.
My brother is better at most things than me. And I'm usually the secondary character in most stories in life. So there you go. That's good.
Yeah, you're dating up. The whole thing.
100%.
Yeah, like it's
who
crazy.
is Luigi dating?
I assume Peach is the other Daisy.
I don't know. Are they?
Was that true, or is he just single forever?
I think he's single forever.
For Heather?
He's single for
He's
Heather.
waiting for Heather.
He's waiting for Heather.
He's a big Heather Locklear
Heather's
fan.
coming though. She's coming back, baby.
So I played a little bit of that. You played as Luigi. That is not surprising. I should have known that. Where do you want to go from here? Because we could talk about some of the new upgrades.
Let's. I've got kind of some things to talk about that are changes from some of the past games.
I'll just jump on your back. You lead us there.
I will be the Nabbit tier Mario.
Yes.
New power-ups. You got a little fruit that turns you into an elephant.
Yes.
You have I think it's a flower that lets you spit out bubbles.
Yes.
Or shoot bubbles, whatever it is. And then you have a drill that allows you to kind of like maneuver through some obstacles and through blocks and things like that.
Right.
Which of these do you think are keepers, and which of them, like which of them, I'll say, do you find stand among some of the classic power-ups versus ones that feel more like a novelty?
Okay, so I'm going to stick mostly with the flower bubble and the elephant here in this conversation, and I feel the opposite about them.
Mm-hmm.
I love getting elephants, and I'm like, yay, I get to be an elephant. Yet it's clumsy, and I don't know if I'm as good with it.
Yes.
But yet does not stop me from being excited every time I get it.
True.
Bubble thing, I hate it. I feel awful, yet I'm way more effective with it.
It's true. I mean, it's very effective, A, to kill enemies, and B, you can jump off of the bubbles and like reach higher areas.
And they go through walls,
it's great. It's really unique. I will say, as novel as turning into an elephant is, as cute as the animation is, as much as I like the change to the music and the aesthetics and all those sort of art styles and what it does to some of the puzzles and beating up these giant enemies and stuff, I don't know that I would rank it among some of the classic power-ups, and I would say that about all of the power-ups in this game. I don't know that any of them feel like they would be at home in like Super Mario World or something like that.
Okay.
So I want to ask you this. We're going to go I want to see if you'll rank them above or below some of the classic power-ups.
That's a great idea.
So let's stick with, what's your favorite of them? Is the elephant?
I would say so, yes.
Okay, so let's keep the elephant.
Okay.
And I want you to say if you like it more or less than the following power-ups.
Okay.
Regular mushroom.
I like it more than regular mushroom.
Same. Fire flower.
I do not like as much as fire flower.
Same. Fire flower is the fucking best. Star.
Star can be a little dangerous, where you're invincible, and then all of a sudden it comes crashing down. And I almost so quickly die after a star almost every time.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'd rather have the elephant.
I agree. I actually don't love the star for the reason you just said, and also for the reason that you want to go buck wild. You want to go haywire. You want to just wreck shit.
Yeah.
I get it. We've all been children before. We've all got that angst in us. We want to crack some plates and skulls. However, in doing so, you often make it so that you can't access other areas. If you kill an enemy and you need that enemy to like hit a block or jump onto something, I always worry that, especially in my first time playing a level, that I'm going to limit my progress by having the star. So I'm not always a huge fan of it.
Okay.
What about the Tanuki suit?
Tanuki, I have to have the Tanuki suit.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But Tanuki suit might be my favorite one of all time.
I think so. I think so. What about the feather, though? Similar to the Tanuki suit, but not as aesthetically cool with the cape.
But the bouncing, the ability to bounce at the end,
Yeah.
cape, feather, whatever you want to say, is above the elephant suit.
I agree. And then what about the bubbles? Elephant or bubbles? You already said that.
I already said that I'd rather get the elephant, even though I know I'm probably worse with it.
Yeah, there were a couple levels in this game that made it that required a lot of dexterity and a lot of quick thinking and reflex.
Yes.
And I found having the elephant was a distraction, and I found it harder to gauge my hitbox relative to some of the wall jumps and things that you have to do.
But there is that opportunity to blow through more things, just as the elephant of just like swinging your trunk. And then, I was thinking about very clearly the buffalo level where they're on like a herding stampede.
Yes. Yeah.
And you just have to keep flying with them, like keep coming up with them. And I found, that's where I'd much rather have the elephant than the bubbles, because then I can knock, blocks away and do things like that. So and on top of that, the animation of them getting up and down the tubes is so cute. Because they're big and fat and they're like, gotta squeeze in.
In general, the animations of entering tubes, whether you have the fire flower or speaking of buffalo, I see you have, are those Buffalo Bill socks?
These are Reebok socks.
They're Reebok socks. Question for you. Speaking of buffaloes, why is the logo for the Buffalo Bills a bison?
Because buffalo and bison are the same.
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're not.
Okay.
So, but why do they do that? They're different animals.
I don't think so.
Yeah, there's no buffaloes in North America. They're only in
Used
Africa.
to be.
No, those were bison.
Okay. But okay.
Yeah. Why?
You mean like water buffalo?
Water buffalo are in Africa.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Bison are in the States.
No, that's not true.
That is true.
Okay.
But why?
Oh, no, you seem convinced. So I don't know what the point of arguing is.
I'm asking you why they're doing this.
No, that's okay. There used to be buffalo in America.
That's not true.
Okay.
There were bison.
Okay.
Bison are the things with the rounded
humps and the
sometimes people erroneously call them American buffalo, but that's not true.
Well, there you go.
But why?
Why do we call anything anything? It's not like we met them and they said, "Hi, I'm a bison," and we're like, "Oh, I got to respect this."
No, so it's our fault as humans. And then
everything's our fault as humans. What the hell argument is that?
Your favorite football team adopted them as their mascot.
Right.
Well, bison. They adopted bison. Bison.
Well, the Toronto Blue Jays minor league baseball team that plays in Buffalo are the Buffalo Bisons.
So, that's good then.
And guess what their logo is?
A
buffalo.
Is it a buffalo or a bison?
It's the exact same thing, so it doesn't have to see the difference.
Well, no, because the logo.
This is like the Pam Beasley thing from The Office, going like they're the exact same one.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. Never seen The Office before.
You've never seen The Office before?
What is that? You mean like where I work? You mean the place I work? I've never.
You mean the British show with the? This guy. God damn it.
Are you having a laugh?
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the cute designs in general.
Yes, like entering a tube, whether you're the elephant or not, Mario will or Luigi in my case will reach back because his hat will fly, and like Indiana Jones is his hat back in or something like that.
I guess we can. I don't know if you're okay talking about this in general. Like the overall design of the game.
Yes.
Is really good.
It's unbelievable. Let's save some of our thoughts before. Let's get some of the changes out of the way, and then just go buck wild on design aesthetic, because I have so much to say about it. One of the bigger changes are the Wonder Flowers and the Wonder Seeds. So Wonder Flowers kind of change the entire scope of a level, and they make it almost like psychedelic, and the physics change and the perspective can change, and it's about unlock. If you succeed at these Wonder Seed levels or Wonder Flower parts of the level, you get another Wonder Seed, and the whole game is about unlocking Wonder Seeds. Another notable change are badges. Didn't know these were in the game prior to playing it, and was happy to find out that they were, because I think they're pretty cool.
No, I didn't either. Now, do I like it?
This is a great conversation.
I don't know, because my least favorite thing sometimes where Mario has failed in the past, and I don't really think there's been some bad games, but nothing like holy shit, this game sucks.
Sure. Mario teaches typing.
Oh yeah, sure. When it taught us typing, that's that wasn't good. It also just didn't look like looked like a rip-off third party.
Yes,
yeah, very scary, like a Times Square character of Mario.
Oh yeah, that's a great way. Or they ordered Mario on Wish.com or something like that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But when they have failed, it's because they've made this game too complicated.
Sure.
And in its beauty is it's on its surface simplicity. Yeah. Right. And this feels like one of those things where it's like, oh, because you didn't have that, now you got to go back and switch the badges and do it. And you're like, oh, fuck off. Like,
now it's funny though, because I don't know that I've ever been in a situation where I'm like, I can't get the thing or do the thing because I don't have the badge. And I'm sure that exists in the game. I haven't really noticed it much yet, but what I do find interesting is we all have different blind spots in our play style.
Sure.
And the badges allow us to get, whether it's a badge that literally allows you to get a second life, essentially, if you fall into a pit, it shoots you out of the pit once per jump, which is almost like an easy mode thing. Or if it's the one that lets you jump up a wall before you jump off of the wall, little things like that kind of change the vocabulary that you have to play the game to potentially compensate for some of your inadequacies in playing it. I think that's interesting.
It's not interesting. I think it's interesting. Yeah. I just would say that it makes a pretty big game, which we can talk about too, even longer, because you're like, well, if I go back and use this badge on this level, you're like kind of thing. You're like, I find that to be arduous, even though I probably will not feel that way when I'm really, really done with the game. And I go, well, wait, maybe I can have a second life.
I totally agree with that. In an ideal world, you don't need a specific badge to get to places, and you can't get to those places without those badges. Ideally, that's never the case, because I don't love that. I don't love forcing me to play with a badge that I don't want to voluntarily play with just because it's the only way to get the secret Wonder Seed in this level. I haven't run into that yet. I'm sure it exists somewhere in the game, but I do kind of enjoy they're not massive changes, but they do, one of them lets you jump a little bit higher or glide on your way down or something like that.
Or get a mushroom when you start the level every time.
Right, exactly. Yeah. These sorts of things do, I find, change the familiar formula enough to make it interesting, but don't change it so much that the game feels different. And I think that's a really fine line to walk. And I think so far in my experience with the game, they're walking it pretty well.
I would agree with you. Yeah, I think it is like a cool little wrinkle that is applied to the game. Yeah, and it will add to the longevity of the game. So at the end of the day, how mad could I be about it?
Yeah. Have you played around much with the online play at all?
No, I've not.
I haven't done a ton with it, but what I like about it, I haven't done any couch co-op either.
Okay. I have.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
How has that been for you?
It's interesting. We played as two characters, not jumping on each other's backs, but two independent characters. And one is the lead, so the camera will follow that one.
Oh, interesting.
It's not like you have to stay on the screen. The other one can be lost, which is a little frustrating, but the pace that the game moves at, you don't lose each other very often.
Sure. Yeah, Mario, I mean, how I play it, I know that some people play it at breakneck speeds.
Yeah.
I'm much more calculated with the way I play it. I have to be, because I'm just not as good at some of the other people who have mastered the formula. But I do think that would be okay, having to just stick within the same screen. And I honestly don't see another way that it could work.
Yeah.
But for online play, there are some different elements to it. You can leave standees, which you probably don't even know how to use them necessarily. You can can buy them in stores, the little standees.
Oh.
And they're just these random unlocks that you have. If you play online, you can leave them as little messages or flags that you drop to show either that you've gotten somewhere special. You can leave them on top of what would have been an invisible block or something like that. And in leaving it, other people who are connected to the network might see the thing that you have left, which is a very Death Stranding thing and a very Dark Souls thing where you can leave notes in areas to kind of show like, hey, don't go here, don't go there, in a very Nintendo way that doesn't really allow you to like craft a message. It's just like very visual and not allowing you to customize it very much. And then there's also the element of like seeing the ghosts of other players or like the specters of other players kind of running around. It's really neat to have FromSoft, a developer that I love so much, and some of the elements that they've built into their games echo through other genres, not just the Souls-like genre, because I'm getting a little tired of all the development companies borrowing so heavily from like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and that the games kind of feel samey, but I love seeing elements of those games demonstrated in these, like I never would have expected Dark Souls and Mario to intersect. So it's really cool to see some of that.
That is cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Development, just a couple quick things. Takashi Tezuka is the main producer. He's worked on pretty much all major Nintendo franchises, Star Fox, Zelda, Yoshi, Pikmin, etc. Wow. Shiro Mori is the director who also directed the new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, so we're in good hands with him. And it seems, at least on paper, not a ton of influence by Miyamoto. So I wonder what his involvement would have been. I can't imagine it's zero. And I haven't read enough to know whether I'm incorrect in assuming he wasn't really involved. But I don't know. I haven't heard much about it. Mario without Miyamoto. But what I do know is that they were the development started in 2019 in this game, so it's been under development for a while. And in spite of that, it was only announced in June of 2023, this year. So beginning of this year, we didn't even have this on our radar.
Okay, I'm glad that came up because I felt like I was going crazy. Where I was all of a sudden like, "There's a Super Mario game coming out?"
Yes,
and I was like, and it made me go like, "Well, it must be bad." You know what I mean? Or it must be like a rushed ancillary product of not a flagship game. And then, well, boy, was I wrong.
It's true. It's a fully realized. Apparently, the development team wasn't given any deadlines, so they were essentially just saying like, okay, we're going to put a team together to make a new Mario game, and we're going to start developing it. No timelines associated with it or anything like that. Just go have fun, and they did. And fun is a huge element to this, and experimentation and play. And I wonder, not that every development company had what
you wonder.
I wonder.
Oh my God, he said it.
Shit, it's like a mind virus. Said the magic word. Go tell the left there's another mind virus in town. Am I right?
Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
This is the I mentioned the first traditional side-scrolling games in 2012, and the first Mario game to feature as the voice of Mario, Kevin Afghani instead of Charles Martinet, which how much of that played into your experience? Did it sound different or new to you?
Not at all. I know this is a big deal among some circles, so I'm not trying to belittle it for the Martinet heads out there, which makes me sound like I'm making fun of it, but I'm not. Like, there are people that really care about this, but it does feel like Charles Martinet was really taken out back and shot. Yeah. Where like between the movie and then this, they're like, yeah, Charles, he's like, well, at least I'll be like, no, you're gone now.
That's
like,
it. I wonder, do you think he like, I don't know if there's any point in conjecturing, but do you think he like raised a stink after the movie and then that's why he was replaced, or would that not have left enough time? Who knows?
I don't know. Or do you start realizing like his voice is only semi-important? It's not like a fully voiced character, right? Where he speaks every line and stuff like that. So do you go like, he asked for twice as much money? And you're like, you know what? No.
Yeah, it honestly could be something like that.
It's all conjecture. I have no idea what's going on.
It's interesting nonetheless. And I think similar to like the new season of Rick and Morty coming out and everyone thinking they were going to be up in arms with the change in the voices and no one even being able to tell the difference.
I'm so glad you brought that up. They said they're like, we heard thousands of people for each one, which sounds like a living nightmare.
That sounds
of people doing Rick and Morty impressions for you for like thousands of that would be enough for me.
There was also one kind of teaser trailer that dropped, and it was just like a general Rick and Morty thing, and it was after all the news, and everyone's like, the voices are terrible, but they were the original voices.
It was the old clips.
Yeah.
And you're like, see, you don't even know.
You don't care. You don't care. You don't give a fuck. So let's get into it now then. I have some questions that we can move to later, but let's talk about our general impressions of the game, Andrew. First Mario side-scrolling game we played since 2012, a game that wasn't on our radar this year, but is now knocking on the door, I think, of Game of the Year considerations. It kind of has to be. How much have you found yourself enjoying it? Are you whimsical for like the early days of Mario when you're playing it, or is this to you like the representation of what Mario felt like when you were a kid playing it all those years ago?
Yeah, I think the latter. I would say that this is really fun, and at the end of the day, this is what it's supposed to be. I never played Odyssey. People really liked Odyssey, but that always from afar looked like, I'm like, that's not Mario. I don't know.
That was my issue with Odyssey.
Yeah, I was like, that's not why I play Mario.
There was an overcomplication with the mechanics, not just the expansion of Mario into like a real world, which is a cool proof of concept, whatever, but it was so vast and the mechanics were so much more complicated. There were like hat throws and then you'd have to jump on the hat and do like double jumps. It was a hard game to master in a way that I find the simplicity of Wonder to be kind of contrary to.
Yeah, and I think it's between the color scheme and the design. Fun is just wrapped in all around this. And if I can bring this up now, some of the level design early on, you're like, you go, oh God, this is going to be a lot of fun. So in one of the first, I think it's, I believe the second level, you can go down the tunnel and now you're in the background. I actually audibly, when I did that, I went, whoa.
Same.
Because I went, where the hell's going on? And the screen didn't change. I assume always screen goes black. Now you're in a new scene and you know, whatever. And all of a sudden I'm moving and I can see something happen in the background. My eyes need to refocus to the back and I go, holy shit, that's me. And I just blew my mind, not only to be the level later with all the singing.
The piranha plants.
Piranha plants. That, and that's so much fun. Like that is so good.
So it's so much fun. I had the same experience with taking a warp pipe into the background of the level. I was on the train and I had to tap my player one on the shoulder. I'm like, look at this. Isn't this so cool?
Blimey.
I was in Ireland. That's what they say there.
You had to wipe the Guinness from your mouth and you're like.
And then I licked it back up because I'm not wasting a drop of that Guinness. Are you kidding me? No, I had the same experience. And also, you know, that I think that's kind of a go-to for a lot of people is the fun and whimsy of the piranha plant musical choir
singing,
or whatever.
Holy God, they're dancing
everywhere. There is so much personality in this game, and I'm not just talking about the designs and the animations of the main characters, the enemies as well.
Yes.
This game has like a Shadow of the Colossus level feel where I've never been less sure of whether or not I should be killing these enemies. They seem fine without me, and they only get mad when I'm really close. They barely seem like they're attacking me.
No, a lot of them are sleeping.
And you're like, jumping on
I don't know about this.
Yeah. I don't know if we're supposed to have that feeling. It does kind of make me, I mean, there's so much morality that's been imbued in video games now that I'm like, I'm sure this isn't intentional. However, what did they do wrong?
You're ending the game and you're like, you chose the evil path. I'm like, I chose the what now? There was a
yeah, Bowser was the good guy. He was trying to save all that'd be a great little twist.
Yeah, that'd be a nice twist.
No, I like not just the visual stylings of it. The music is phenomenal as well. They have weird little things too where like there are these blocks that are just music notes, and as you run along them, they make a little music chime. Yeah. And somehow, and this is the genius of Nintendo, somehow, no matter when you do it or how fast or how slow you go, it fits with the music of the level. How the fuck do they figure that out?
And then on top of that, some of the bonus levels, you have to hit the blocks in a certain way, and they make a musical, and they're behind bars, so they hit a musical note. And the first one is the dun 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 dun, and you're like, holy shit, that's great.
It's amazing.
It's nostalgia in the best way possible because it improves upon the impression that you already had.
It is almost like if you could just like put like a sensor in a child's brain.
Mikey, you are
Just wait.
The deepest of waters.
You didn't let me finish.
Okay.
If you could put a sensor in a child's brain, kill the child.
It's like these sick monkeys that Elon Musk is using.
Yeah, exactly. They were sick.
They were already going to die, so I blew their brains out.
We're all going to die. And you could kind of like what?
So I made the last moments of this dying monkey's life truly horrific. What? Sue me. Oh no, don't do that.
But I've got billions of dollars. It's okay. If you were to just kind of like picture what or replicate on screen what's going on in someone's head when they were a kid playing the original Super Mario Bros. or Super Mario World. This is kind of what it is. The facial animations of the characters, the additional sounds, the joy and playfulness of it all is what we imbued in the, not that Super Mario World or Super Mario Bros. Were like like devoid of that.
No.
But I think that if they had the technology at their disposal, this feels like the realization of what they wanted to do back then.
The thing that I keep thinking about is just how much personality is in every corner of this game.
Yeah.
Like everything has a little touch. And you're like, God, that is so, even to the point that when the little buffaloes like hit the wall and they're like, oh, and they're confused and kind of distressed. And then they're like, okay. And then you're like, oh, I love that. And the number of times I just watch them do that. When games and, entertainment in general is always like, we need to be dark. We need to be gritty. Mario just glides across it like ice. Just like, no, it's going to be fun and it's going to be easy. And I also will say my relationship to this game, unlike a lot of video games that I played in the past. And I think this is only me, but I think I speak for a lot of video game people or gamers in general, is that when I play a game, you do become a little obsessed with it because there is a certain amount of reward technique to it that you want to keep going back to. 100%. Right? And that's why all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, what time is it? Oh, I need to go to bed. I have not felt this way with Mario, but it doesn't mean I don't like the game. I'm just able to pick it up and go, well, wasn't that delightful? And then put it down and I feel great.
I've been playing in like 15, 20-minute chunks.
Me too.
And there was only one moment that I felt an obsessive pull. And that was an incredibly difficult level. That is one of the special areas. I don't know if you've experienced many of the special areas, but there are two levels where there's music and a rhythm that's going on at the like as the music of the level, and as the beat goes, there are different colors of platforms that will appear and disappear with the beat.
Yes,
now,
I love it.
The first one was great. It was the perfect level of challenging. It was more about jumping than anything else. It was like, just time your jumps and land them properly. Great.
Yeah,
Easy.
because the platforms disappear when the music note ends and something appears. So,
exactly. And that's fine. It's all timed. It's good. The second one, which was part of the special level, was doing wall jumps and with the same thing. And this was, I literally, it took me 30 tries.
I was so proud when I got it.
I was so proud when I got it. And it felt amazing. But I was also frustrated to the point of wanting to break my Switch in half. And I'm going to explain why. Nintendo, you got to give your head a shake a little bit. You're so good at making games, but you are so insistent on not making basic changes. And it comes down to this. I've got a longer thumb, I think, than a lot of people. Yeah. So when I'm playing in handheld mode, hitting the dash and jump at the same time is not easy. My thumb slips a lot. They're very small buttons. Whether your thumb is big or not, it's not an ideal way to do it. And I understand that was the limitation of the old Super Nintendo and Nintendo controllers, the run and jump at the same time. Why can't I map run to a shoulder button and keep those things entirely separate? And I know that sounds like sacrilege to Nintendo fans because it's like, oh no, they're curating the controls and all that stuff. I don't care about that. I don't want a physical controller to be able to limit what I can and cannot do in the game. And especially if it's getting to the point where I feel like that physical limitation is the only reason I'm not beating this level, which it was. My thumb was literally slipping off by the end of it. And I couldn't, if I took any time to reposition it, I would have just failed the level.
Yeah. Nintendo, give your head a shake. Get a controller that fits Mikey's weird, huge spider hands.
Or, I mean, yes.
His weird, freaky Andre the Giant hands.
When I hold here, I'll show you what's happening right now.
Hold a very normal thing, okay?
Okay, I'm gonna hold a very normal thing.
Okay, he's gonna hold. Okay, he's picking something up.
This little yellow thing that I'm holding, and you'll see this.
Yeah.
On the screen on YouTube if you're watching. This is a full ice cream cone.
That's a full ice cream cone.
This is a full real size ice cream cone. It just looks. They're so big.
They're so big.
They're so big, and they just like it's melting now. I'm gonna put it.
Yeah,
down.
you got to put it down. Yeah. Mikey plays a Switch like he palms a basketball. Just like lifts it up.
So I was actually finding that in order to beat this level, I had to hold my Switch diagonally. It was the weirdest. I literally my head was craned and my hand was like the. Can
you imagine that poor Irish couple looking at you on the train? I don't think something's right with him.
That's why they didn't like me.
Yeah.
But you know what? Okay, leave my big weird spider hands aside.
Yeah.
All the spider talk's going to be next week. From an accessibility point of view.
Yes.
You should be able to change the controllers to be whatever you want. Even if it doesn't reflect the way that the director or producer of the game intended it, because they want it to be a certain level of complicated. If there's a case where a person cannot play it because, you know, maybe they have some paralysis in the right hand and they have to shift some things, whatever it is. That option should be available to them. And if the convenience of being able to change controls around suits someone else, so fucking be it. Let them do it. Yeah. The barrier to experiencing good games is such a barrier to the medium in general because you have to be good at them in order to experience them. We're getting better and better at saying, like, there's a story, like in Spider-Man, there's a story mode that where you can't die.
There's a story mode in Spider-Man?
There's just a story mode.
Oh, interesting.
Where you can experience the Peter Parker and Miles Morales themselves.
I just hope it's not that they're stressed about their two identities.
Their two identities.
Sure that they do not cross over.
Money is weirdly important in Spider-Man.
It always is.
Concerned about it.
It always is.
Just take like a couple. Next time there's a bank robbery, just take one handful.
Or when you stop a robbery in progress and the I don't know, owner of the pizza place that you're stopping goes like, Spider-Man, please take some money. Don't go, no. Go like $43. Exactly. That's how much for the fluid.
100%. That's it. You gotta look after yourself. So, and speaking of Spider-Man, before we leave that to next week,
capitalist Spider-Man,
capitalist, or just look after yourself.
Free market Spider-Man.
You can't be a socialist Spider-Man.
No.
Because look at him now.
I'm sure in Spider-Verse we'll have a socialist Spider-Man eventually will pop out.
I prefer Spider-Punk more.
Oh yeah, Spider-Punk.
Well, I guess he is kind of a socialist.
He's very much a socialist. Yeah.
They do a lot to allow for accessibility changes.
That's awesome.
They take away button mashing. You can remap the controllers.
Oh, that's great.
You can have a story mode, as I mentioned, where you can't die.
That's really good.
I like that stuff. I do. So that's my biggest gripe with Super Mario Bros. Wonder is the inability to change the controls.
I thought you could change it. That's disappointing to hear.
You can swap out which button does dash versus jump, but you can't change dash to a complete other button. You can do like, instead of X and A or whatever the fuck Nintendo does, it's like A and Y or whatever the fuck Nintendo does. I don't know.
I know we've talked about this on a past episode about the lettering on the controller being opposite. It just drives me crazy.
Yeah,
but whatever. To the point that every time I start the game, I have to go like, oh wait,
that's it.
Okay, right.
Seeing prompts on screen do not help me.
No, it actually hurts me.
Whether I'm playing Xbox or PlayStation, I can always figure it out with a prompt, but Nintendo is the one that I can't do. And I don't want to pick nits because this game is so great.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about Nintendo. We talk about the attention. Here's the thing.
The
only thing about Nintendo.
An 800-year-old company.
It's pretty basic, Andrew.
Yeah.
And I'll say this about any company.
Okay.
If you start making playing cards, you'll eventually be a video game conglomerate. It's basic. It's math. It's science, actually.
Yeah. Watch out. Uno, you're next.
Uno.
Old maid. But entertainment system.
Uno's going to start making waves in the video game industry. Nintendo's going to hold out that reverse card, baby.
Wow.
You go right back where you came from. No, here's the thing about Nintendo games, and this is not to pick nits. This is, like, I know people are going to complain that I'm complaining about being able to unmack the controllers, like, oh, you're looking for something to complain about. But here's the thing. We talk about the attention to detail with the music and how it integrates with the entire level. We talk about the little facial expressions on a sprite that is a fraction of your screen size that they do. Nintendo is so good at what they do at making games that they invite you to look at their game under a microscope. But in doing so, they also invite deeper scrutiny because you are looking at the game from such a critical level because you're like, I have to see this really up close. And the closer you look at anything, the more flaws you're going to realize. So if we bring up flaws in the game, it's not to pick nits. It's not to tear something down that is otherwise very well done. It's just to say that, like, they do such a good job that you do need to kind of like keep them in check when something is blatantly off like that.
Yeah, I would say they're famously very protective and I'm nothing of the right word, but they're, they do it their own way.
Yeah.
And they do not allow customization in often in any way.
Yeah.
So like, it's not surprising, but it is disappointing. I'll give you that. But on top of that, this game just fucking rocks, though.
It fucking
just
rocks
like
so much.
Unbelievably good.
It's capital F fun. It's what video games were at one point. This is what video games were at one point in time. And I understand why, as a medium, we want to grow and mature and invite more story and morality and question what we're doing. And we want it to be art. But I feel like in the pursuit of that, we've given up just a little bit, which is the fun of a game like this, the whimsy and the wonder of a game like this.
It also, it's a great Switch game. It's great to pick up and to play. It's a great thing for your commute.
Yeah.
You can play a level in 8 minutes and you're like, that was great. And you put it back in your bag and stuff like that. This is just a really good use of the technology that they have created. Proprietary. That was the word I was trying to think of earlier. Their proprietary technology. And it just works in every level because it also feels like the games we grew up on were Mario.
Yep.
And this feels like a grown up version of that is aged with us, but still at its heart is trying to accomplish the same thing.
Yep.
I totally agree. I'm so blown away by this game. And I think it will get dismissed by some people because of how simple it is.
I agree.
Simple is hard. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a new cook. They always make them cook an egg because cooking eggs are easy, but simultaneously very difficult.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's
everyone can do it, but not everyone can do it well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a really good way of putting it. And I think that's the same way. You can make a simple game, but you can't make it this good.
It is amazing the lack of flaws, because every flaw in a game that's this simple stands out because of how relatively simple everything is. I think the things that really kind of knock that off of its perch are really going to be noticeable. I want to ask you 2 questions that'll kind of keep the conversation going, and give some overall impressions of the game to you. Fill in the blanks. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is best when?
Is best when...
You can also consider it as, I enjoy Super Mario Bros. Wonder most when.
Okay, interesting. I would say when it has all my attention.
Okay.
I think if I have a nice quiet moment to play this game and you really sink yourself into it, you are overtaken by the imaginary wonder of the game in general. You know what I mean?
You're not playing it with like one earphone and
someone's cooking and sports are on and the TV
Yep.
in the background and stuff like that. I think it's a really good one where you can just put in headphones to the game and just sink in.
For sure. I love that. My answer would be more related to what's happening in the game at those moments. So I would say Super Mario Bros. Wonder works best when there's a moment that is new and innovative and you're not really at risk of losing, if that makes sense, where it's flowing. Because remember when we went back to go play Sonic, and as kids we remember Sonic being so fast, but that speed doesn't come until you've kind of memorized a level a little bit. There's a similar element in Mario where the speed and the flow doesn't come until you're more familiar with the area. So when you get a Wonder Seed, for example, or a Wonder Flower, and the world changes and you're running around and you're like, this is so cool and everything's flowing, and the level, for example, I don't know if you've gotten to it where you get the Wonder Flower and it starts to rain down the invincibility stars. And I'm like, this is so cool, and I can go super fast and running around and I feel super powerful. What I worry about in those moments is that you fail it, and then the wonder that you experience in that first moment becomes frustration because you've seen it before and now you just have to do it again.
Well, the Piranha Plant thing, when they start singing, if I also died a lot in that level, I'd be like, fuck this level. Like, God, I hate this
100%.
thing. But it's a walk in the park, literally and figuratively, that you're supposed to just kind of enjoy it and walk through and finish it.
And I think Nintendo's really good at noticing and recognizing those moments. There was a game, everyone knows the game is Bloodborne, but there was a moment in Bloodborne that there's a boss, and the boss fight is really, really cool. There's kind of a cowardly character that you have to chase around these catacombs and kind of corner him and kill his ads, and he's kind of taunting you, but he's also empathetic in a weird way, and you corner him and he has to go down into this little area where you're like, finally, I fucking got you, I'm going to kill you, and you jump down into the pit, and he very often one-shots you and kills you. So this whole kind of gimmicky boss battle that was really cool, innovative, and enjoyable the first time, I had to do like 5 or 6 times, and I'm like, it has tainted my experience with this, what could have been this new kind of like, the experience was not defeating it. The experience was experiencing it. And I think Mario does that really well sometimes. The Piranha Plant's a great example of it. You don't want that to be a challenging moment that you have to go do again and again and again.
No,
and again.
You would learn to present it. You know what I mean? So I think that's fair.
Super Mario Wonder is worst when?
Is worst when? Boss levels.
That's
the
great.
thing is, they are almost a one-to-one recreation in a lot of ways to the original, Super Mario.
Yep.
they've added some new ones, like you play Bowser Jr. and he turns into a shell that spins and you've got to hit him once and you finish. Okay, that's the first one. But then the second one is that he changes the terrain. I think it's Ludwig. Changes the terrain, and sometimes it's ice and sometimes it's sand. You're like, that's good. But it's so simple when the game that you had just played to get there, the level that you just played to get there, was so complicated and dynamic and doing things that this feels so sterile that you're like, oh, okay, you don't need this. Like, I don't think you need it anymore.
Boss fights are a real sore spot for me. I've found so far they haven't been challenging enough that I hate them. They're just kind of inconsequential. I just kind of do them. I'm like, all right,
that's fair.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever. Now, I'm sure I will get to one that is difficult and I'll be frustrated with it or whatever. And if that's the case and it's not fun, then that doubles down. Indifference that you have to repeat, and indifference plus difficulty is like, no bueno. Keep that away from me. Don't like it.
I know. I'm almost done the game. And I've not found one that is hard. I find them to be annoying when you're like, you get knocked once, you're like, oh, come on.
Like,
Jesus Christ. So yeah, I would say that's what's your answer?
I would say, interestingly, kind of like to more along the lines of your first answer, when does it work for you? I would say it's worst for me when I'm playing it in handheld mode. And I know that you just said this and I agree with it. It's great for commutes. It's great for little chunks and all that stuff. But I think because the game is so beautiful and has so much to offer in terms of the little details, as fun as it is to play in handheld mode, it's so gorgeous on a big screen when you really get to appreciate all the details and see all the little parts for what they are blown up a little bit more. It's like the first time I ever played Mario Kart on the Switch on an HD TV, and I was like, oh fuck, Mario Kart can be gorgeous. And I never considered that before. Okay. And it's kind of like this as well.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, there you go.
How about this as just one final question to lead us off?
I would love to hear it, Mikey.
The little flowers that are littered through
that is the
level.
only thing I wanted to talk about afterwards. Okay, great.
Do you like them?
Okay, when it started, I was like, what the fuck is this? This is Nintendo getting in their own fucking way where he's just like, whoa, that was tough. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, you know, oh my God, I hated that flower so much. But it just feels like the most English adaptation of something where they're like just getting one guy to do the most like over the top voice of all time. But then when you get to little parts where you get to the castle and he's like, it's scary in there. And you're like, it is, little buddy. It is very scary. And then you go, be brave, and I'm gonna walk in there as, you know, Daisy. And it's good and bad when you hit these little levels. So like that jumping level you're talking about, where you have to go all the way up, and it's very annoying. But he's there every time. I'm gonna go with he. I don't know. He's there every time you're at a platform because he goes, time to take a break.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're looking back up. You're like, it sucks. That's so bad. And so I don't know, hit or miss. How about that?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think more hit than miss, though.
Okay.
I think it is so silly that it goes beyond being stupid that it becomes fun again. When you find like a little, like, you know, Mario is famous for having these weird invisible corridors like above the level. Yeah. And sometimes you're running through them and you just hear him say like, hey, how'd you get here? Something weird like that. I'm like, that's really funny. And they're there almost as the developers winking at you in moments, being like, isn't this part funny? Or like you're falling from like a really large height and he's saying like, this is so much fun. And then all of a sudden he starts to fall faster. He's like, this is scary. Yeah, and I'm like, that's dumb, but really, really funny. And the tone of voice is basically like, the Nintendo Directs, there's always like, Nintendo Directs are the weirdest. And when they're introducing a new game, there's always this very kind of like the most generic voice of all time, like explaining the rules of golf to you when they're doing Mario Golf. And it's like, swing back, use all the power you have, land on the green, and try to stay under par. And I'm like, the rules of golf weren't what interested me about Mario Golf. It was literally every other detail about Mario Golf.
Mario's invented a game called Golf. I don't think so. I think I've heard of this before.
If you like golf, what about American soccer?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
American soccer.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's like, this is a very outdated term, but it's like Mr. Movie Phone. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Yes.
And you're like, okay.
I like it. I like it. Andrew, that's all the questions that I have for you. Look, I can talk for hours, but you said that you had a little bit of a surprise for me.
I have a quiz for everybody.
Oh.
It's a Mario quiz. It's a not a you, it's a me, a Mario quiz.
I like it.
Thank you very much. I'm going to quiz Mikey, but I'm going to also quiz you guys at home.
Okay.
They're ranging difficult questions. So the only thing I say to you is just give it a second before you answer anything. So you give the people at home an opportunity to answer.
I'm going to race them on it.
What's that?
I'm going to race them. I'm going to answer as quick as I fucking can.
Okay. Well, we're going to start out nice and easy together.
Okay.
With it's a number one. What was Mario's original name in the arcade game Donkey Kong? You know, something nice and easy. You know, everyone's got a pretty good idea of what this is.
And the answer is Jumpman.
It is Jumpman. Mario's creator, Shigeru Miyamoto, originally named the character Mr. Video, but that evidently didn't stick. The name Mario was inspired by the real estate developer and one-time Nintendo of America warehouse landlord, Mario Segale. Apparently, his attire reminded the employees of Donkey Kong's stocky nemesis, and a legend was born.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there you go. Number two. This is a multiple choice question. Mario has a wide range of interests and talents, but which of the following has he not portrayed in a video game to date? I guess I should add.
Good question.
Carpenter, golfer, sommelier, umpire.
A sommelier is a like wine drinker?
It is a yes.
Just everyone who drinks wine is a sommelier.
Boy, do they think so, though. No, it's like an expert wine guy.
I have to imagine it's sommelier because why would Mario be drinking wine?
You are correct.
Yes.
I could just see it happening in the 80s where he's actually a sommelier.
It was
he's stopping grapes.
That's a great multiple choice question because it was so hard. Like it was so obvious that I'm like, that can't be the real one. You know what I mean? Yeah.
As you probably know, Mario's appeared in the guise of a medical professional in multiple Dr. Mario games, not to mention Super Smash Bros. He's also come as an umpire referee in several games, including tennis and Punch-Out!, in addition participating in sports many of himself as the Mario Golf series. He was a carpenter in the original Donkey Kong series, although he soon switched jobs and made more sense in Mario Bros. When he took up plumbing with his brother. Okay, now we're going to get into some more weirder questions. What pop band guest starred in an episode of the TV show Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3? Was it the Jackson 5? Was it Milli Vanilli? Was it the Spice Girls? Or was it Hanson?
I think it was actually Jackson 5.
Okay. Lock in your answers at home. It is Milli Vanilli.
Oh, wow.
Only speaking to the generation that it was in, too. Like, Milli Vanilli. Like, one.
I knew Hanson was too late for that.
Yeah, it's good call. You got that one. All right. In Super Mario RPG, who are you trying to stop from taking over? I got a multiple choice questions.
Okay.
I got 4.
Yeah.
Polly, Smithy, Boyer, Bowser. Stop. In Super Mario RPG, who are you trying to stop from taking over?
No, I know. I'm pretty sure Bowser's on your team. Is it Missy?
That was not an option. So I'm going to go with Polly, Smithy, Boyer, and Bowser.
Boyer?
Yeah.
God, I never played RPG. I'm gonna go Boyer.
It is Smithy.
Smithy. Dang it.
You probably met a few Smithies in Ireland.
I did.
I should have done a multiple choice question for this one. Too bad, because this would have been a lot of fun to come up with answers for it. Who invented the Poltergust 3000?
Oh, God. I want to say it's like Dr. Whizbit or something weird like that.
You are like circling it.
Yeah.
Yes. It would be a title and then an expression of
Professor.
Yes. And then like if you came up with a scientific invention, you'd be like,
oh, Professor Eureka?
You're so close. You're so close.
Bazinga.
But yes, Professor Bazinga. It's also like a shocked expression like
Professor Egad.
Yes. Well done, Professor Egad. Very good. The inventor of the Poltergust 3000. All right, number 6. How many stars are there to collect in Super Mario 64? Oh. Are there 60? Are there 120? Are there 150? Or are there 200?
There are 150.
There are 120, Mikey.
Oh, shit.
Mikey.
No.
Oh, yeah.
That was a gimme.
I'm so glad. I'm so happy about that because I came up with those numbers and I'm like, okay, what kind of sounds around the same?
Yeah, because I think it was 60 to beat the game and then 120. Yeah, fuck. That sucks. Damn it.
No, it's okay. Number 7. There's 10 questions.
Okay.
Number 7. What was Princess Peach's original name? Was it Princess Plum? Was it Princess Rainbow Princess? Was it Princess Toadstool or was it Princess Apple?
It was Princess. I'm going to give people a chance.
Yes, give people a chance at home. Lock in their answers. It is Toadstool.
Yeah.
Correct. Back on your winning ways. Okay, number 8.
I never left my winning ways, Andrew. I just took a little detour.
Took a vacation. Took a staycation at home. How long was the fastest recorded game of Super Mario Bros?
Oh.
Was it less than 5 minutes? Was it 9 minutes? Or was it 15 minutes?
I know this. It was less than 5 minutes.
You are correct. Gamer Dorbin.
It was
Derbien. Sorry, completed the speed run of the game in
14
2015.
seconds or 49 seconds or something like that.
No, well, the one I got is 2015. He had 4 minutes and 57 seconds.
Okay.
And 627 milliseconds thanks to some many game glitches. This player beat the last record holder by just a fraction of a second.
Oh, damn.
So
Good for him.
Go. Number 9, the warp whistle in Super Mario Bros. 3 is actually from another Miyamoto game. Which one? Is it Star Fox? Is it Legend of Zelda? Is it Donkey Kong?
I'm going to say it would be from Legend of Zelda.
It is Legend of Zelda. The warp whistle even plays the same notes in Super Mario Bros. 3 as it does in Legend of Zelda.
I didn't know that. That's
There you
amazing.
go.
Yeah.
Last question, true or false? Super Mario Bros. Was supposed to be the last NES game. I found this interesting, so I turned it into a trivia question.
Interesting. Super Mario Bros. Was supposed to be the last one. I'm going to say false.
It is actually true, and it's because the Super Mario Bros. Was supposed to be the last hurrah for the NES system, which Nintendo...
NES. Shit. Sorry. I thought you meant SNES.
Oh, no, I know.
Yeah.
Which Nintendo was going to replace with the Japanese disc-based game Famicom. Nintendo America designed to stay. It was a last-minute decision to stick with cartridges, but they almost got rid of cartridges at the end of the NES.
Oh, it's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
I didn't know that. I know Nintendo's had a ton of weird gadgets and peripherals and stuff like that never made it stateside. Like the Satellivision or whatever it was the coolest one. That was like an online connection basically for your Super Nintendo. But man, that was a ton of fun.
There you go. Let us know how you did it at home. Not easy. I learned a lot by doing that.
I learned a lot as well. I learned that my buddy Andrew is a really good quiz maker.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That can be a huge part of this podcast going forward. But yeah, Super Mario Wonder, do you want to put a little bow on it?
I think we should. Why don't we give it a 4-bit rating?
Sure.
You ready for that?
Yeah, I absolutely am.
So this isn't going to be a retrograde. This is just going to be a straight up 4-bit rating. Andrew, your impressions of this game?
Yeah, Mario as a character, the Mario universe holds a huge amount of weight and experience into what I enjoy about video games in the first place. And I thought for a long time that it is kind of dead. It's kind of very similar to, and not dead. It was still doing cool things. The Mario Kart 8 is great, and there's versions. Smash Bros are still a lot of fun. There's versions of it that make a lot of sense. But much like when fighting games went away from 2D, you're kind of like, I think this. It's hard to put it back in the bottle at this point. I was wrong. Super Mario Wonder is wonderful. It is breathtakingly imaginative and fun, and it brings me right back to why I like video games in the first place. This is game 4 out of 4.
Amazing. I am right there with you. I like that we don't do a 10 out of 10 scale because I don't know if it would be quite that. But 4 out of 4, kind of like your experience with this game, if you just unfocus your eyes a little bit and just go into it hoping to have some fun, it delivers on exactly what it promises. If you take some of the specificity and detail out of a 10-point score and reduce it to 4, it can only be a 4 out of 4. Like, I just can't imagine another score for this one. It's doing exactly what it promises it's going to do. And when we went back to go play Super Mario World on a recent episode, like a while back, I just couldn't believe how much I enjoyed playing it, how much fun and how well it held up. And with that, I was like, how much better can the formula get? And it turns out there's still so much room. And it feels like now I'm like, well, now what the fuck could they do? They've done everything you could do. And 10 years from now, they're going to do it again. And it's going to be even fucking better.
That's the thing, is it gives you hope for the future too, that there's still a game like this that you can do. I would struggle to find a reason not to give it a perfect score. I struggled to find that thing going like, but this thing, no, it's just so much fun to play.
I agree.
So I'm glad we both played that. And, honestly, you at home, let us know, because it's a very popular game. A lot of people are playing, and we want to hear what you think about Super Mario Bros. Wonder. But until then, next week, he catches robbers just like flies. You wouldn't believe this. Watch out. Next week,
it's the cops.
Oh, wait, what?
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Hey, how'd you get here?